Hello and welcome back to another episode of Come Over for Dinner. I'm Bess Hawthorne and I'm so excited you're joining me today. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Jenny Brown. She was recommended by her friend Kylie, and this is what Kylie has to say about her. She is a pastor's wife. She and her husband Brian live in the Denver area, and he is the pastor at Trinity Church Denver, a CREC church in the area. Jenny is a hospitality genius, she says. The Browns host all sorts of events at their house, and Jenny is always feeding everyone, everything from elders meetings to young adult hangouts, to parish dinners, to women's gatherings, to large dinner events with dozens of people. She is wise, creative, and has a wonderful sense of humor. One fun thing, she hosts an annual sourdough evening at her home to teach the women in our church about sourdough bread, and has created a whole community of sourdough bakers in our small church. And all this while also teaching fourth grade at our local classical Christian school. Wow, I was impressed. And then I got to she also teaches fourth grade, and I just was blown away. You are the Energizer Bunny. You sound like you have a very full and busy life. I didn't mention she does have 3 grown children as well. So they went through the classical Christian school. She has twins at New St. Andrews here in Moscow, and then a recent high school graduate who is also attending college this year in Pennsylvania. So a very exciting time for you, being able to see them all take off, but also I bet a bit different because no one's left at home.
Yeah, we're starting to feel that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. We have 3 weeks to go or so.
Yeah.
Leaves,
You're savoring the time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I should say welcome, Jenny. I'm so glad you can be here today.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself. Anything I left out?
Well, we moved to Denver in 2008 from Texas, and we were living in Fort Worth and decided to move to Denver. Didn't know anybody in Denver, but we moved with a group of people to plant a church, which we did in 2008. And the kids were little. The twins were 3, and our daughter Carson was 1. And we, in the midst of that, decided to start a school because we needed a school for our kids. And church planting and school planting, seemed like a good, a necessary thing for a secular city to have, churches and schools.
Yes.
And so, it's been great. We've loved living in Colorado. How do I describe Colorado other than, people come here to play and hang out and are very sort of adamant about their recreation, but relaxed in their passions for, other things other than to recreate, ski and rock climb and camp and all that kind of thing, which is awesome. And we enjoy all of that. But we started a church. We ended up leaving that church in 2015. And then we started another church in Denver. And that's where we are now, Trinity Church. My husband's the pastor. And we have a lot of people over. Hosting is a big part of our lives. So
I can imagine. Do you feel like you want to do those sorts of things in order to welcome the new people that are continually coming into your church? Is that part of the impetus behind bringing people into your home? I know your friend mentioned that you do parish dinners and women's gatherings and invite ladies over for sourdough evenings. Tell me some about the ways that you do hospitality.
Well, when we first moved to plant, some of that is like, I had no idea, what a pastor's wife should be. I think I had expectations of what I thought people would expect of me. And so some of that has just taken time to navigate with my husband. What are my responsibilities and what are his responsibilities and what are things I enjoy? What are ways to use my gifts in the church, but not feel obligated? There was no time that I was trying to play the piano on Sundays. And I don't play the piano, so I wasn't trying. But,
that'd be real tricky, especially if you don't play the piano.
Well, you're right. There was a feeling early on of I should do the women's ministry or a children's ministry or something in our previous church. We did have a big children's ministry, and just sort of figuring out what are the ways that I could be a part of serving and being a help to him. And so some of that has changed in some of our like philosophy of ministry has changed over the years. When we first moved to Denver, the first church we started in our basement. Most of the events were in our backyard, and it started like very organically with just groups of families that would get together, kids, families. And so a lot of that centered around our home. And within a couple of years, the church grew significantly and there was a large staff and they bought a building, and I sort of lost a sense of like, what's my role now? What do I do if the home base of the church isn't really like actually our physical home? What's my job now? And so I sort of fumbled through that for a couple of years. The church was, more than 1,000 people. And I ended up coming to like a barbecue that used to be in our backyard, and I kind of show up with a salad bowl.
Right.
Like, okay, well,
not recognizing most of the people, I'm sure.
Yeah, if your last name starts with a B, bring a salad. Like I just was like, I didn't plan this. I have no, I'm just kind of showing up.
Yeah.
And so I definitely sort of fumbled around trying to figure out what my role was and responsibility and what Brian would want me to do. So anyway, that came to an end in 2015. We ended up leaving. And when we decided to plant a new church, there was just such a different mindset of like, my responsibility is to be Brian's helper. These are my kids. I'm going to do the things that I like to do and want to do that are a help to Brian. Like, what does Brian need and what of those things could I do? I'm not a calendar administrative emailer, so I knew that wasn't something I could really help him with. And other people God provided. But I loved having people over and I loved meeting new people. And we both really enjoyed having people in our home. So I think there's been more of a freedom. We planted Trinity probably like 2017. So since then, it's just like, this is great. This is part of what we can do together. We both enjoy it. It's a blessing. It's needed. We don't have a church building. We just rent on Sunday mornings. So we don't have another like event space. Our house is just, God's provided a great space for us to be able to do that pretty easily in our home. It's like, this is a good thing that kind of works with all of our gifts, need of the church, desire that Brian has, and skills that I have. So kind of all together.
Right. You've been able to move the hospitality back to your home, maybe a bit smaller groups than 1,000 people.
No. Right. Yeah, for sure. And so now, if Trinity bought a building, it's like, well, we would do things at the building, but then I would still do things at our house. I think I have a better sense of where I kind of fit into that. And so because we don't have a building, we do, an elder meeting twice a month, and we do dinner for that. We do, parish dinner, all the elders. There's a couple elders in ours, and then there's a couple elders that do a few others. There's 4 or 5 that meet throughout the city, but there are elders in each of them. And so we host one twice a month, and we do some youth. When our kids were all in high school, that was a fun season. On Sunday nights, we would have all the young people, youth, singles over for dinner. He does like a drinks and doctrine night where he goes through the Westminster Catechism with people from church. We do like a newcomer's dessert. That's fun. There's just, all the stuff. And then we do a women's event, but I don't always host that. We do one women's event a month. We did like calligraphy last month. We do sourdough. We do sourdough in January. We just do like some activity, something for people.
Something new for them to learn.
Yeah.
Well, all of those events sound wonderful. And once you have things in place, you have it on your calendar, like say an upcoming dinner for the youth or an upcoming dinner for the elders, then it's something you can plan for and be ready for. But also it's really a great time to have a smaller group in your home.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. Yes. Yeah. And they're regular enough that I kind of know the rhythm of, it's different kinds of food for each one. Like the elder meeting is, we don't say like, we're providing dinner, but we do. What guy doesn't want like kind of a second dinner. Even if the meeting starts at 8 o'clock, we still
Sure, you're providing
provide
heavy
more
appetizers
than,
or something.
Yeah, more than just like cheese and crackers. We do more than that just to try to like be a blessing to them because they're, using their Monday night to come.
Yeah.
And so that's different than youth. I feel like each event, there's kind of a couple different meals that work for young people. And there's some meals that work for the guys. The drinks night is more like heavy appetizers, things like that. So
have you found that as you do it over the years that it's become easier and easier? Like,
totally.
Once you have your system in place?
100%. Yeah. I think for me, the system has so much to do with our house and our space. Maybe everybody's like this. I'm totally oriented around like, I want the space to be clean. I want everything to be put away. I care about the space a lot. I like the food and I like cooking and I enjoy looking at recipes and finding new options. But the space and the food to me are just so together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I almost always start with cleaning. And so having just really simple, in 20 minutes, you can like, now I don't have lots of little kids running around, but big kids kind of make messes too. Not really, but I don't.
It's true.
Little kids around. If it's just me,
it can stay clean.
I'm like less is more. I wouldn't say I'm a minimalist, but I'm definitely a like clean it out, less, like don't want to have closets or overstuffed.
Yeah.
Don't want to have like
pass it on to somebody who would use it and need it. If you don't have 7 kids at home, there's no point in having all the things.
No, I want to have a very quick, like we can have a quick turnaround because some weeks will be like 4 events, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday or something. And so just to be able to quickly turn it around, the space is a really big deal to me.
Yeah.
And so I think I've tried to organize our home around having a lot of I know right where all the paper products are. They all have their spot. I know right where,
and you've organized down to the point of having things that you actually use versus just things stored and all this excess.
No.
I do understand that because when you have a lot of excess, you spend a lot of time just organizing and moving things and rearranging. And it honestly, I think people have all kinds of tips, but one of the things that I've thought of over the years that I've read somewhere was if you haven't touched it, looked at it, worn it or whatever in a year, you do not need it. And if you just really can't let it go, put it in a box. Close up the box and put it somewhere out, in the garage or wherever.
Yeah.
And, go another 6 months. And if you don't even know it's in the box and you still haven't used it, pass it on. Give it to somebody in your church who would love it or, Goodwill or something. Just, it will really help free you to be able to use the space you're in better.
Yes. Well, a lot of times you get stuff for the people. But then you have so much stuff, it's like it keeps you from the people because it's so distracting and it takes time. So again, like my husband has thousands and thousands of books. Like we're not minimalists, but the spaces, the main living, kitchen, bathroom, outside, those kind of main spaces for hosting, I can clean very quickly and they are simple.
Yeah. I saw this card.
That helps a lot. Yes. In terms of hosting, that's a big part.
Yes. Quick turnaround, quick cleanup. I saw this cartoon once that had 2 people in front of a garage and one of them opened the door and said, "Well, son, here's your inheritance," or something along those lines. And it was a giant garage, absolutely stuffed from floor to ceiling with stuff. You could barely close the door. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's just exactly the opposite of what I want to be. It's just not a blessing to your children or to yourself to yourself.
I would enjoy looking through the garage to like find the treasure. We are in a big city. And so there's so many resources here. Like if you decide to get rid of your Pyrex and then wanted to buy another one, the amount of thrift stores and the amount of just access we have to stuff and to cool kind of treasures.
Yeah, you can find things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So rarely are there precious things that just have to be held on to.
Right, so that you'll never have a chance to replace it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's jump into one of your favorite menus. You've mentioned a lot of different events that you serve for. Do you have a favorite menu that you would recommend for us to try?
Something that would work for lots of different cases, like the youth. I've done for youth and an elder night, or just if a family's coming over for dinner. I do like sourdough. I'm not a precious sourdough person. I put my starter through the ringer, and I do like it to be distressed and neglected because I don't.
Maybe that makes it taste better, like grapes,
Right.
if they really struggle, it's a better wine.
I'm not going to be that person that talks to my sourdough and gives it a name, and I'm not either. I'm very like function. But I have enjoyed making, it could be kind of like a Stromboli type. Well, my husband's favorite, which I wish it had a fancy name, and I should have thought of something, but we would call it like a ham roll up. But if I have like a spiral ham, which we would get, Costco has good spiral hams at certain times of year, and I would get one for sure at Easter and Thanksgiving and other times. And they used to have some other sliced ham that I really liked, but I think that's when I started making it. I make my same sourdough recipe that I use for bread, which is the same as what I would use for pizza dough. I know some people have a variety, but the kind of basic bread recipe is what I use. But I just roll it out, and then I put meat and cheese in it and seasoning, and you can do mustards and different sauces in it, and you just kind of roll it up. You can do like cinnamon roll style, which that's really good with pizza toppings inside. And you like roll it up like cinnamon roll style, and then slice it cinnamon roll, and then like put it in your cast iron like cinnamon roll. But they're like little pizza with sauce. But the idea of like rolling up with the bread is like you can do, roast beef and cheddar, ham and provolone.
Yeah.
One night at the sourdough night with the women, I was wanting to show that like you can actually kind of, it's not like a, use up what's in your kitchen sink, like that kind of thing where you just use anything. But I was trying to show them you could put anything in your side, but I didn't have those things on hand. And I think I thought I did. And so all these ladies are sitting around. I was like, you could even put peanut butter and jelly. And so I think one time I did do a peanut butter and jelly, like pretty sloppy though, but still very tasty.
Oh, kids would love that.
That's like a good staple for our family. You can do all kinds of sides, roasted vegetables or salad, fruit, any sort of like side things you would want. Mm-hmm. But sourdough has just been such a launch to me, and like feeling like I have something to offer and something that can be a win, like warm bread. Anytime somebody's like, what can you bring for dinner? I'll bring a loaf of bread.
Really?
Well, yeah.
How long have you been doing sourdough?
It was back when we were at our first church, and another pastor's wife. We were part of Acts 29 back early on. And there was another pastor out in Fort Collins, and we went out there, and she said it was like a little wives gathering. And she was like, if anybody wants to come early and take a little sourdough. So I want to say that was like 2010 maybe. And I've just had it, the same guy,
Wow. He hasn't died yet? That's amazing.
And the great thing about passing it along to the women in the community is when people's do die, there's
can
just
replace
someone,
it
easily. Yeah. And so many people have it. So that's been a fun thing. And the ladies have all jumped in. And so now, of course, the communion bread has to be a sourdough. And there's all kinds of ladies that help out with that. And definitely like raises the level. But I find that it can be incorporated and sort of give like an idea to hosting more, it like launches ideas for when people are coming over. When we have the Westminster like doctrine night, there's that good recipe with the brie. Ooh. And you do the loaf around the brie and you bake it I would put it on parchment on a pizza stone in the oven.
Okay.
And so the breeze in the center, you kind of make like a huge donut of,
Oh, yes.
bread around. You've probably seen that. It's in a really common sourdough cookbook, but that is so good.
Oh, I can
And,
imagine.
that's such an easy, like, people are coming over.
Yeah. And that's very hearty. Sourdough bread with cheese. Do you do anything with it? I mean, you probably serve things with it, but do you drizzle honey or do any nuts or anything like that?
You can do the roasted garlic and rosemary on top of the brie.
That would be good.
And then in the picture, it kind of shows a way to cut the bread around, and it does really open. It's beautiful. It's like a great, you're going to a Christmas party.
Right. Okay, I'm going to have to get this recipe from you. I'm going to have to find it.
That's a great one.
I'll have to post that. Mm-hmm. If you want any recipes she's talked about, look on comeoverfordinner.com because I will definitely post them so that we can all have a fabulous appetizer. Mm-hmm. There's not a whole lot of appetizers listed, so this would be a great addition. Yep. Do you use any shortcuts or time savers when you're thinking about having a group over?
Well, I've only done this a few times, but it was such a help. When I did, we had a huge graduation party for our daughter in May. And previously, we have a big men's event once a month. So I know other ladies in the church have done this for the men's event. And I kind of think that one time when we came out to visit the kids in Moscow, we brought this along as well. But we do smoke meat a lot. And so if you do like big pork butt, like shredded pork on the smoker, and vacuum seal it, which is great. I did a huge vacuum seal project and then was like, I want a vacuum sealer for Mother's Day. So I recently got a vacuum sealer because I was just like, this is amazing. It like takes all the air out of it. Doesn't have any of that kind of like freezer burn on it. You're sealing it right in its like kind of juices and its moisture. And so you get it nice and tight. It takes up no space in the freezer. I think for her graduation party, we cooked like 50 pounds of pork butt. We would smoke it, and Brian would pull it in. I would freeze dry it, I would freeze seal it, vacuum seal it, put it in the freezer. But then the time saver, one, that's a time saver to like pre-cook it all. But the fun part that I was so excited about was to reheat it, because you kind of always face that, like, how does it not get dry, and how do you reheat meat? In some of those cases, it's like we're just doing baked potatoes and pulled pork with the toppings. And so you just are making sure that it doesn't dry out. But if you use the sous vide, is that what it's called? Sous vide?
Yes. I do not have one, but I do know what you're talking about.
Sort of like half the size of a wine bottle. It clamps on to a big pot. It's sort of like a bath
of warm water.
Warm water.
I don't know how hot it gets.
Water. Well, you adjust it to the temperature of what you're cooking. And so if you're making green beans or if you're making meat, you adjust it to the necessary temperature. And so it brings the water bath to that temperature and just like circulates the water to cook it. Well, we had a huge, huge pot, and one of those like giant soup pots. You fill it with water, put the sous vide in, and then put all the meat in. It's vacuum sealed. It was de-thawed a bit, but as long as there's not air in the plastic container, it all will sink. As soon as there's air in it, it floats to the top, and so it doesn't work. So it has to be sealed tight. And for example, for Carson's graduation party recently, we had this huge bath of pork warming to the perfect temperature. It can't overcook in a sous vide because it controls the temperature.
Right. It's not sitting there boiling.
It's not sitting there boiling, and nobody's monitoring it. And so her party, we did a big like dance and barbecue in a friend's backyard. And while graduation was happening, nobody was there watching it.
The sous vide was babysitting.
It's warming the meat all to its perfect temperature. It's not drying out at all. And then the first people that got there, I had a few people like, hey, can you go right away and get it and put it all in the chafing dishes?
So what you would do is just start opening packages and serving it. You probably didn't even take them all out at once. You didn't
No, you
have
don't shoot
to.
them all on at once. Nope. And you're just like slicing the package, putting it in the chafing dish.
That's amazing.
It's just all hot and all the moisture still there.
That's amazing. That is a great
It's been really good. We've done that.
tip.
We froze a bunch of meat and then drove out to Moscow and just had it in our cooler because we like to have the kids' friends over for dinner, if we rent an Airbnb while we're there.
That's so great.
But we could only find one of their, like a big kind of bucket trash can. And we're like, great. Because you don't know like what's at an Airbnb.
Right.
But if you need to host while you're there, that's tricky to host at a off-site location.
Oh, even the ones that say that they have fully stocked kitchens most of the time do not. We went to a place in Texas once that said fully stocked kitchen, perfect for cooking, and I brought all of these favorite things, and there wasn't even a cookie sheet. I had covered something with foil, and so I had to use a little piece of foil to put the cookie dough balls on that I'd brought just to be able to cook some chocolate chip cookies. A lot of times you just can't even rely on the listing.
No way. Wow. Yes. Yeah. So that has been a good way to be able to do kind of like the mass quantity. I've only ever done it with meat.
Yeah.
But when I was reading in my vacuum sealer, I was sealing meat last night because we're going out of town for a few weeks. But then when we get back, we have kind of a family reunion that we're helping to provide the food for. And so I was sealing meat last night and reading the instructions on the thing. And it's like, you can seal broth, you can seal marinades, you can seal, you could essentially do that like reheating process with any kind of like large quantity stuff that you're doing.
So you usually use a pot, but then at the Airbnb you used a metal trash can?
Well, it was just like a clean container because the food isn't touching it. It's just, you just need the water to be able to circulate and not melt the container.
Yeah.
It's not getting hot.
Right. That is so fun. How did you find your sous vide? Do you have a certain recommendation that you would put out there?
I could send a link. We've had it for a long time and got it because of those. Have you had those egg bites at Starbucks?
I've seen them. I don't know if I've had one.
Circles, but they're sous vide cooked. And so they have this like very soft. They're just there's no bread. There's not like a crust to it. It's just
right. It's just a good bite of protein.
But it's a sous vide. That's how it's cooked. And so we were like, we're going to make our own egg bites, And so I think we got one for Christmas one year and had it for years and never really did much with it. There's a few good dessert recipes we had used. But I was hung up on the sealing of the meat, the kind of getting all the air out of your...
Okay, so we need your vacuum sealer recommendation too. It kind of goes hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. But now I'm like, there's no going back.
There's no going back. It sounds like the best way to do it because I do like using the freezer, but I run into the ice crystal problem.
It's gone.
It doesn't matter how tight you seal it. It still gets a little bit of freezer burn.
I think at least my only experience that I can testify is the recent. It was probably late April. We did all the meat in one long weekend. It felt sort of like a life conquering feat, to like
a marathon
meat all weekend and then do all the freezer. But it was great. And it was perfect in May when we got it all out and did the party.
Right. You thank your earlier self. You're just so thankful.
I didn't see any of the freezer.
Yes.
Crystal.
Okay. So that combo sounds
the sealer
wonderful for working ahead.
Huge prep help.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you're done with all the cleanup too, which is a huge part of it. Huge part of having people over is just the cleanup from the food prep, which is why commercial restaurants and kitchens have, what do they call it? The dish boy, the dish girl. I mean, there's a better term than that, but somebody who's constantly washing dishes. If only we had that at our house. Instead, it's usually the person cooking as well.
Yes.
Before we move forward, a big thank you to the sponsors for supporting today's episode. Have you ever thought about how much science is involved in cooking? Chemistry, physics, and biology are at play all over your kitchen, on the cutting board, in the mixing bowl, on the stovetop, and in the oven. Inquisicook is on a mission to show students that science can be relevant, fascinating, and delicious, all while teaching an essential life skill. Inquisicook begins with the basics of food science and culinary arts, then adds skills and concepts in a carefully crafted sequence that leads to proficiency. Best of all, the principles can be applied to any cuisine, any available foods, and any dietary restrictions. So when it's time for people to come over for dinner, the options are endless. Visit inquisicook.com to view sample lessons, then check out the recipe gallery to see just how crave-worthy science can be. What is your best prep tip when you're inviting people over? Besides your vacuum sealer and sous vide to work ahead of time, how do you prepare?
Yeah. This may have come because I have listened to your podcast and maybe somebody else has said this, or talking to Kylie. Kylie, she's so sweet that she said I should be on your podcast because she has saved me so many times. Every time she walks in and she's coming to an event in our house, I look at her and she's like, what do you want me to do?
That's so wonderful.
And I'm like, but a realization that's been so helpful is just to face that, like, most of what is needed to prepare your house, your space, even lots of the food components are really short and simple. And they don't take a lot of time. And it's so easy. I'm a big, do the hardest thing first or do the big task first, which is good, maybe sometimes. But I leave all these small things. So something like making the salad dressing or wiping off the counters or putting on a new table runner or hanging up the jackets in the closet or tidying up the backyard, all of those things truly take 5 minutes, 3 minutes. They're just so short. And so I have struggled in the past to prioritize the small things. But if you just do the small stuff, you can get so much taken care of and so much out of the way. And that has been a huge, huge help to me. It seems, recently we had a big tea party at our house for our daughter who's graduating from high school, and it's kind of a tradition at the school, and the teachers come and some of their close friends come, and it's a sweet time. And then one of the teachers gives a blessing, sort of, kind of a commissioning blessing, and it was so great. And I had worked so hard to be prepared, but I had kept walking past this little counter in our house where we have sort of like a little drink station. It was a annoyingly small closet pantry that I just could not handle because you just lose everything in the back of it. And so I ripped it all out and we made it we put a counter in and a tiny little drink fridge and some small shelves for some bottles of wine or whatever. And I had seen that it was sticky, a little bit sticky, and you could see some drink circle marks, And I just walked past it it's not even worth my time. It's so small. But it was. I knew that I would wipe it because I noticed that, I don't want it to be dirty. But it was just so small. And then we get there and the nice lady walks in who's going to say this blessing, and she has her blessing all typed out, and it's in this nice folder, and she goes to find a spot to set it down, and she looks at that and just kind of, she wipes a little bit, and I'm just thinking Jenny, just wipe it.
Just do the small things.
Small things, I don't know that that's really that helpful, but if you just sort of set a 20 minutes on do everything that takes no time, that is not even worthy of your checklist, never make it on a checklist.
Yeah.
It's just not even.
But then at the end, if you've saved them, it's a lot of time.
Move all the shoes from the living room.
Right.
Closet in the bedroom. Put them all away.
Right.
I would never put that on a checklist. And so it seems like it doesn't matter or count, although I know that it does. But then those are the things in the last 8 minutes before people arrive that you
kind of are in a panic because it's taking too much time to do. Yeah, just do them early.
Things. And so maybe something that should make it onto the checklist is 10 minutes of the tiny stuff.
Yep.
And then it's launch, that kind of thing for me, really launches me a lot better into less of the stress in the last few minutes. New people are always early. So,
Fear.
yeah, it's just a thing. So,
Which is hot tip, be kind to your host and do not show up early. Showing up right on time is okay, but not early. They are in the throes of trying to do their last minute wiping of sticky
their
spots.
last minute wiping, seriously. Yeah, why did I save that after I passed it by? So I think putting that on your list, spend a few minutes just doing the tidying stuff. Don't start a whole new yard project.
Right.
Which is something I would fall into. Like, oh, there's time,
Like, well, put that off till after the event and do all the small things you really don't want to do.
Yeah, just the small stuff that doesn't even count,
Yeah. Yep.
So
good advice.
That's me.
What is your best advice for making people feel welcome when they come into your home, besides the fact that you've gotten rid of all the sticky spots and put the shoes away?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably typical that when you set out knowing people are coming over, you have like high expectations, high aspiration of what you think the time will be and how prepared you'll be and how, just like the fine details that you will have remembered and the tidiness of everything and the music or the candles are lit. Like you have sort of all these, like I imagine all events having all those things. I'm totally on board for candle in the bathroom and, it's all just great. And sometimes that happens, but I've found that there comes a time when you just have to kind of let all of those things go and just be excited that the people have walked in and be present and be joyful that they're there and be about, getting to know them and them feeling comfortable and them being welcomed and, laughing at your own mistakes. Well, not that they would like walk in and see some big mistake, but if something is not ready and food's not ready, it's just like, well, this will be great. We'll be able to spend some time visiting for a few minutes longer. Do you want to come over and stand by me? Will you come stand by me while I do this or come, and sometimes there's a job that you can pass off and that's natural. But I think mostly it's just, you really have to change your mindset. Like there is a time to let go of what your expectations were and to be thankful for your family and glad for whoever's coming. Yeah. And, thankful for the barking dog, like just whatever
is happening.
It is not time for you to still be in your, but I wanted to, or I imagined, or it was going to be better than this. I imagined it being much better. It's like, nope.
That's a good point. Besides letting it go in your own head, you have to not tell your guests all those things because you make it so uncomfortable when you do. I have made that mistake in the past where you're just apologizing for things that they don't even care about or know about. Do not commit the cardinal sin of announcing to everyone as you eat all the things that are wrong with the meal and all the dishes.
No.
Like, oh, well, this casserole is a little bit drier than normal. Or, oh, this dessert didn't turn out like it normally does. It's usually a lot better. All of those things, you have to let it go. You're just ruining the meal for everyone. Totally.
And in terms of what the whole of the hosting would be, nobody had the ideas but you. The person that's hosting is the one who thought, oh, wouldn't it be so nice if we had name cards on the table or if we had
a candle in the bathroom.
Yeah, better this or better that, or had like flowers in a certain way or had, better appetizers. A lot of events that we have just are more like you've come for this thing and now food is a part of it, less of like you're coming just for dinner. I always imagine like, oh, and then I'll have small little appetizers or then we'll have it like this. It's important to realize like I'm the only one who thought of those things. I didn't deliver on them. That's okay. I'll have another chance next week or in a month or tomorrow or whenever. But now it's like I've bound everybody to this obligation that we have all these little extras that mom thought of. And it's like, that doesn't bless anybody. It's just, it was an idea that came to my mind. Sometimes I can deliver on that extra thing or whatever. And sometimes I don't, but it's my responsibility to like, let it go and not bind up everybody in this, like, now we have this debt that we, didn't quite get the backyard.
Right. We didn't measure up
as it should have been,
Yeah. And
beforehand.
Your guests that are coming over for sure are not looking around and saying, oh, the flower arrangement, it's just not here, or it's worse than last time, or whatever.
Very grocery store flowers,
Right. Those are not fresh from her own garden. How dare she?
Right. Like nobody thinks that way. And also they didn't know that you were hoping for something better.
Exactly.
Anyway,
yeah. So it's good to work to achieve.
It's really important. Absolutely. You work 100%.
You work to achieve beauty, but in the end, you have to go with the time allowance is the parameters that you are able to work within.
Yes.
For that time.
Totally. And it's our responsibility to like get that attitude cleared up before someone walks in.
That's great advice.
It has to do with, if you're disappointed with your family's performance or your family's readiness.
Yeah. Then that really sets a bad tone.
Yeah, totally.
Not a good tone.
Walks in. Yeah.
What is your must-have kitchen item, and where can we find it? We have mentioned a couple. I'm definitely going to get links to a vacuum sealer and a sous vide.
Yeah. Yes. I think you guys have a restaurant store or you have access, but we have a business Costco.
I have recently heard of this, and it makes me very envious.
But a fun thing at the business Costco, which I did not go in to buy, but it was so cheap, and I just did it, is a disposable, which I will definitely reuse, but it's the disposable chafing dish.
Yes.
Sort of a wire, the frame, the basic frame.
Yes.
Is the part you could reuse, but it was a 3-pack. And you can buy kind of this like pallet of sternos, so it doesn't feel like this big precious thing that you're using. It's like 24 of them, and then the foil disposable pan. So I have a lot of cast iron and Le Creuset and things like that, but that is hard on your oven and it is heavy. And if you're moving towards foil pans anyway, if your quantity is taking you.
Right. If you're having a massive event and you don't want a lot of cleanup, that really is helpful, because you can throw away those disposable pans.
Yeah. Brian likes to have people over for like some college football games or things where it's just like guys are going to be at our house for hours and I'm going to kind of be coming and going. It's nice to have those warming, like you just have mac and cheese and smoked sausage or something, and they can just have it throughout the time, but it's staying warm. It's not like getting gross. I've liked having those, and I have a spot in the basement just to like have those supplies. So that's something that it kind of reminds me we have the resources we need to have more people. We're not bound to, this is kind of max 5 families.
Right.
Or max, because some of your main pots just don't accommodate.
Yeah, if you were going to cook for that crowd, you would have to have multiple pots. And then to keep things warm, if you're having a long table, nobody managing it, the sterno is really a great option. And to buy the ones that are, I guess, the more permanent kind that have the silver and all that are so expensive. The ones you're talking about, the footprint of storing them is very small.
It's very small, and I think my application is not as formal to need the nicer ones. I have one nicer one that is, that you would reuse, that has like a nice glass lid, and that's helpful. And
if you were putting on a more formal event.
Yeah, if you just have one like hot dip or something you wanted to have in the midst of other food, if you were doing like more charcuterie, but you wanted like one warm that was going to be on a nice table. Its quantity isn't huge, but the disposable ones, just so nice.
That's a great idea.
And if they're just not expensive. I think the 3-pack was like $13 for 3 of them in the disposable foil pans.
Oh, you can find them so cheap. I don't know if they're in store, but if you don't have a business Costco, you can order. I've actually ordered everything you're talking about on samsclub.com. Maybe Costco.com has it too. I'm not sure, but samsclub.com. And it is half the price, maybe even lower, if anywhere else you can find it. It's kind of like finding it at a business store. It was just so cheap when we were hosting an event with lots of people and we were needing a setup like you were talking about.
Yeah.
It was just so much cheaper to buy that and lots of dishes to clean up, but we weren't scrubbing pans that had meat in them. We were just chunking those in the trash.
Yes,
All the meat insides.
Yeah, I like that a lot. On a smaller, in a day-to-day, I use that little, you may have this on your website, but that little chainmail, it's like for cast iron cleaning.
Oh, I have
It's like a
seen
little
that.
square.
I don't have that.
Like
I've heard of it.
It's like the size of a small little dish rag. It's maybe like 6x6, but it's just metal rings.
Do people use that instead of, what do you call those scrubbing pads? SOS pads?
Well, I was making a big batch of macaroni and cheese. And so that your like cast iron pan, it's just, clean that. It's like cheesy and yucky, you know? And so you're going for it. Initially, there's things catch in those little rings. But as you've rinsed, by the time your pan has rinsed, there's no food left.
Oh, wow.
In the metal. There's nowhere for the food to hang
It all
on.
rinses out.
Just all rinses off. And it doesn't ever smell. And it's not like wiping with even your brush. There's like a sense that there's cheesy yuck in your brush.
Yes.
I imagine it being gross. I'm not saying maybe it all rinses out just fine. But the experience of washing with that chain thing, it's like yucky for your first swipe 2 or 3, and then it's just clean. You're just wiping out your.
Okay, try this.
That little chain, that little metal thing. I probably wouldn't. Well, I don't really like scrub our dishes.
Right. It's more for a heavy duty cast iron pan or stainless steel or something.
Anything else, I would for sure use it on cookie sheets.
Really?
But maybe my cookie sheets don't have that cover. I don't know. It's been a while since I bought fresh cookie sheets, so I don't actually know. But,
maybe they're not nonstick anymore.
I use it
a lot.
All the time. It is like the scrubber.
Really? Okay. That's a hot tip. I'll have to put that on the shop page as well.
That a lot. Mm-hmm. I use that a lot.
Another hot tip for cleaning your cast iron. I don't know if I just do it on cast iron all the time. Maybe it works on other pots too. But for cast iron, if you have stuff really stuck on and you don't have a chainmail scrubber, which apparently I need, you put water in the bottom of it, or maybe halfway up if it's really stuff is everywhere, and put it back on the stove and boil it for just a few minutes. Yeah. And you go to scrub it and it just all comes out. It's just the most amazing thing. Something about reboiling. And it sounds like, how could that even work? Because it would just get stuck worse, and it just doesn't. It's amazing. You boil it for a little bit, then go to scrub and everything comes off.
Cast iron is...
It's where it's at. If you do not have a cast iron pan, I highly recommend one. Learn how to use it. It's so easy to re-season. And you're not doing a new seasoning every time. Once you clean it real well, you can put it back on the stove, let it heat, put a little bit of oil in it, and let it sit for a bit longer on the heat, and it gives it that nice coating again. And it's, I don't know if I'd call it non-stick. You can cook eggs in it. I usually don't. But I cook everything else. But some people cook their eggs every morning in them.
Yeah, I cook eggs in it. But, just some more butter, a little butter.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Especially if it's seasoned really well. You can do that. And then if there's some stuck on there, you just put some water in it and boil it again. Do a little scrub at the end, or use a chainmail scrubber.
Yes. Yes. The chainmail scrubber is great.
That's a great tip. Do you have a story from all of your years of experience in hospitality? Do you have a story you want to share with us?
Well, it seems that any kind of clashes that we've had of like, what were we thinking, have to do with like both my husband and I are not administratively capable. I mean, we are when we need to be, we do the necessary things, but it's not a strength. And lots of what we've done in the past would be gathering with other pastors in the city, or where he's primarily communicating with the men. And so if he says 5:30 and I thought he said 6:30, or if he says, it's like he will hey, you should come over. We're doing this. Or, he's inviting people, but then he kind of, won't exactly remember. Did he invite them like via text? Did he invite them via email? Like what time did he say?
Which are crucial details to pass on to you.
It's created kind of funny situations for sure. New people are early. People that are excited are early. Definitely have been in a situation where I'm like vacuuming in sweatpants.
Oh, that's tough.
And then like an entire family comes in, just like holding their pan, their side dish. So excited about the party, but they like thought they were coming. Oh, we can help. We thought we'd come a little early to help.
Oh dear.
But really it's like, oh no, it's an hour early because.
Oh dear.
So there's those kinds of things that happen. We recently there was a difficult situation where Brian was kind of mediating in a conflict. And again, we don't have church offices. And there's some situations that are just not fit for a coffee shop.
Right.
And I totally understand that. But I had really missed the memo that the mediation time was going to be happening.
So they were all coming to your house.
Oh, totally. Yes. And looking back, you're like, of course they were coming to our house. Where else would they have gone? That makes total sense. But I think we had some NSA students drive through. It's been fun to get to know some kids who live in Texas because Denver is kind of on the way. And so we've gotten a few people who have come and stayed, which has been really fun. But I think I was cleaning up from some overnight college guests. So I like have kind of a bunch of blankets and like stuff out in the living room. I'm out in the front yard doing some gardening, and he comes out and is like, oh, what time's your meeting? Oh yeah, 1:00. And he looks up, he's like, hey, and he says hi to the person who's right behind me.
Dear.
He's like part of the, and I look at Brian like, what? And he's like, yeah, where else are we going? So we miss each other. We miss each other some on that kind of communication, but it's all okay.
You just smile and keep vacuuming or whatever you're doing.
Kind of look at each other with a long look of like, we're going to make it right. Like, this is okay.
We can do this.
I thought the house looked fine.
Again, letting go of your expectations because the people coming in do not care if it's vacuumed.
No. And they don't mind that I'm there. I kind of just piddle around to the backyard and then find the keys to the car to go run an errand because I'm like, I don't want to be in the kitchen to be a part of. So our kind of misses in communication, it really helps us, especially when we're in the busy season of the fall and the spring. It is definitely quieter. We certainly take a little time in the summer and don't host for a stretch in the summer. But in the busyness of the fall and the spring, we sit down. We have at least once a week to, when exactly is it? What exactly, just really
you need an administrative meeting.
Yes. We don't naturally do that. We really have to like calendar doing the administration. And so that's helped. And those situations probably nobody else remembers except for me, just feeling like, this isn't what I expected.
A panic moment.
Yeah. So just good communication, especially if both you and your husband are, he really values us hosting. And so he's actively a part of that and actively inviting people. So I can kind of predict when those things are happening. Like, I get the sense of, we haven't said Super Bowl party, but
it's coming up.
But, so some of that we now know about each other, but others, it's like we really do have to sit down and
we have to put times on the calendar. We have to put dates on the calendar.
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, those are funny moments. And it sounds like you've handled them very gracefully.
Well, I don't know, but it's such a blessing to us. You like clean throughout the day and you clean over the course of the week but there's something that is such a blessing to me about hosting of just, it pushes you to kind of do all the things at once and you get it all done and you kind of in the moment, you're just like, there's so much to do. And then people are there and it's so rewarding and wonderful to have the fellowship with the people, to have good community in our church and with our friends from school and neighbors and just like broader connection to people and hopefully a blessing to them. And then I'm always just so happy. Like people leave, I'm like, I mean, the yard has been mowed and the bathroom's been cleaned, and you've done so much to make that happen. And it like pushes you to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. If it were just our house coming over, it wouldn't bother me that some of the dining room table is filled with whatnots.
Right.
I enjoy having worked on our home and enjoyed work on our space so that we can have people over. And then we also enjoy that we've put effort into it.
Yeah,
and
it makes it feel like everything's complete. All the cleaning's done, the yard's done, everything's. And after company, you have to do the cleanup from the company, but everything else is pretty much
it's just
still
different,
in great shape.
It's different to like, it's a different kind of cleaning, and people help out, and it's sort of a community effort, but over time, it's like, I think we have really enjoyed that we've put more into making our yard a better space to host and more into making our house a better place to host. And we enjoy that all the time.
Right.
And so that wouldn't have happened. I think some people can kind of feel like, well, I can't host because, the baseboards on our house, we haven't even finished the trim on the and we haven't even. And I'm kind of like, do the trim.
Right. Just do it if that's what's inhibiting you.
Do it, because they're so interconnected. And I'm always so glad that we did the push.
Absolutely.
To be ready. And then we just enjoy like, oh, I'm so glad we put those new pictures up on the wall, or like freshened up the, got new pillows for the couch because those were seeming kind of dreary, and you want to kind of freshen up and do those things. And then anyway, so.
Yeah. And then you're enjoying them all the rest of the time.
Totally. Yes. And it's a weird, like I'll kind of clean like a basement closet, and just as I'm getting it all cleaned out, I just have this like, we should have someone over for dinner. Just because
it inspires you.
Like, it inspires you. Yeah, it inspires you to like reach out. So I really like it for lots of reasons, and with those included.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jenny, for all of your tips and for your recipes and all of the advice you've given us today. I've really enjoyed talking with you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Until next time, bye for now. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow the show and leave a review. It helps new people be able to find the podcast. And if you enjoyed this conversation especially, be sure to share it with a friend. Thank you for your time.